Good morning, Ellie and Tayton and the Mustang team. We have 2 chapters left, and we get to find out the end of the miraculous journey of Edward Tulane. Chapter 26. There you are, milady. Meet the rabbit doll, said Lucius. The doll mender walked away, turning out the lights one by one. In the gloom of the shop, Edward could see that the doll's head, like his, had been broken and repaired. Her face was, in fact, a web of cracks. She was wearing a baby bonnet. "How do you do?" she said in a high, thin voice. "I am pleased to make your acquaintance." "Hello," said Edward. "Have you been here long?" Months and months," said Edward. "But I don't care. One place is the same as another to me." Uh-oh. "Oh, not for me," said the doll. "I have lived 100 years. And in that time, I have been in places that were heavenly and others that were horrid. After a time, you learn that each place is different, and you become a different doll in each place too, quite different." 100 years, said Edward. "Oh, I am old. The doll mender confirmed this. He said he was mending me that I am at least 100 years old. Oh, I have to stop and think. What kind of journey has this doll been on? 100 years. What has she seen?" Edward thought about everything that had happened to him in his short life. What kind of adventures would you have if you were in the world for a century? The old doll said, "I wonder who will come for me this time. Someone will come. Someone always comes. Who will it be?" "I don't care if anyone comes for me," said Edward. "Oh, but that's dreadful," said the old doll. "There's no point in going on if you feel that way. No point at all. You must be filled with expectancy. You must be awash in hope. You must wonder who will love you, whom you will love next." "I am done with being loved," Edward told her. "I'm done with loving. It's too painful." "Pish," said the old doll. "Where is your courage?" "Somewhere else, I guess," said Edward. "You disappoint me," she said. "You disappoint me greatly. If you have no intention of loving or being loved, then the whole journey is pointless. You might as well leap from this shelf right now and let yourself shatter into a million pieces. Get it over with. Get it all over with now." "I would leap if I was able." "Shall I push you?" said the old doll. "No, thank you," Edward said to her. "Not that you could," he muttered to himself. "What's that?" "Nothing." The dark in the doll shop was now complete. The old doll and Edward sat on their shelf and stared straight ahead. "You disappoint me," said the old doll. Her words made Edward think of Pellegrina, of warthogs and princesses, of listening and love, of spells and curses. What if there was somebody waiting to love him? What if there was somebody whom he could love again? Was it possible? Edward felt his heart stir. "No," he told his heart, "not possible, not possible." In the morning, Lucius Clark came and unlocked the shop. "Good morning, my darlings," he called out to them. "Good morning, my lovelies." He pulled up the shades on the windows. He turned on the light over his tools. He switched the sign on the door to open. The first customer was a little girl with her father. "Are you looking for something special?" Lucius Clark said to them. "Yes," said the little girl. "I'm looking for a friend." Her father put her on his shoulders, and they walked slowly around the shop. The girl studied each doll carefully. She looked Edward right in the eyes. She nodded at him. "Have you decided, Natalie?" her father asked. "Yes," she said. "I want the one in the baby bonnet." "Oh," said Lucius Clark. "You know that she is very old. She is an antique." "She needs me," said Natalie firmly. Next to Edward, the old doll let out a sigh. She seemed to sit up straighter. Lucius came and took her off the shelf and handed her to Natalie. And when they left, when the girl's father opened the door for his daughter and the old doll, a bright shaft of early morning light came flooding in. And Edward's heart, quite clearly, as if she were still sitting next to him, the old doll's voice. "Open your heart," she said gently. "Someone will come. Someone will come for you, but first, you must open your heart." The door closed. The sunlight disappeared. Someone will come? Edward's heart stirred. He thought for the first time in a long time of the house on Egypt Street and of Abilene winding his watch and then bending toward him and placing it on his left leg, saying, "I will come home to you." No, he told himself. Don't believe it. Don't let yourself believe it. But it was too late. Someone will come for you. The China Rabbit's heart had begun again to open. Chapter 27. Seasons passed, fall and winter and spring and summer. Leaves blew in through the open door of Lucius Clark's shop, and rain, and the green, outrageous, hopeful light of spring. People came and went, grandmothers and doll collectors and little girls with their mothers. Edward Tulane waited. The seasons turned into years, and Edward Tulane waited. He repeated the old doll's words over and over until they were a smooth groove of hope in his brain. Someone will come. Someone will come for you. And the old doll was right. Someone did come. It was springtime, and it was raining. There were dogwood blossoms on the floor of Lucius Clark's shop. Ooh, that's kind of happening right now. Lots of rain. The dogwoods are blooming. She was a small girl, maybe 5 years old, and while her mother struggled to close a blue umbrella, the little girl walked around the stone, stopping and staring solemnly at each doll and then moving on. When she came to Edward, she stood in front of him for what seemed like a long time. She looked at him, and he looked back at her. Someone will come, Edward said. Someone will come for me. The girl smiled, and then she stood on her tiptoes and took Edward off the shelf. She cradled him in her arms. She held him in the same ferocious, tender way Sarah Ruth had held him. Oh, thought Edward, I remember this. Madam, said Lucius Clark, could you please attend your daughter? She is holding a very fragile, very precious, quite expensive doll. Maggie, said the woman. She looked up from the still open umbrella. What have you got? A rabbit, said Maggie. What? Said the mother. A rabbit, said Maggie again. I want him. Remember, we're not buying anything today. We're looking only, said the woman. Madam, said Lucius Clark, please. The woman came and stood over Maggie. She looked down at Edward. The rabbit felt dizzy. He wondered for a minute if his head had cracked open again and if he was dreaming. Look, Mama, said Maggie. Look at him. I see him, said the woman. She dropped the umbrella. She put her hand on her locket that hung around her neck. And Edward saw then that it was not a locket at all. It was a watch, a pocket watch. It was his watch. Edward, said Abilene. Yes, said Edward. Edward, she said again, certain this time. Yes, said Edward. Yes, yes, yes. It's me. And that is the end of our book. So, in the end, a mother with a 5-year-old little girl comes in and finds Edward, and he had opened his heart back up. And who was the mother? Abilene. So now you can kind of calculate the years. Some of you guys had said 15, 16 years. He was at the doll shop for years and years and years. But obviously it had been long enough that Abilene had grown up from a 12-year-old little girl to having her own 5-year-old. And once Edward left, what happened? The story came fully around, didn't it? I hope you guys enjoyed the miraculous journey of Edward Tulane. I'm going to be sad to not read a book to you guys. So if somebody has a suggestion of a book they might want read, I think we can discuss it. I do have books. I have several books in my home. A lot of them are at school and I can't get to those. So maybe throw me some suggestions. I'll let you know if I have them and we'll start a new book.